This hairstyle is giving Jackie Kennedy. It's giving Madam President. It's giving 70s housewife. Hey gems, welcome back to my channel. My name is Imani. If you're new here, welcome. So today we're gonna be talking about the best way, the most efficient way to travel with a toddler or anyone under the age of 2. I have a special guest behind me in case you... He's here. I'm gonna give you some tips and tricks of what I learned over the few months of traveling with this little man right here. We started traveling, our first airplane ride was when he was 3 months old. We went to Jersey. Was it Jersey? No, I lied. We went to, no, that wasn't airplane, was it? No, yeah. Our first airplane ride was to South Carolina. And then we took another one to Jersey. I don't know, but we started at 3 months, okay? Now, obviously, when you travel with your kid, that's completely up to you, but that's when we started. Okay, so we're using natural lighting, and there's a lot happening with the natural light, okay? All right, so let's hope this works out. I would say the most important thing to know when you're traveling with someone under 2 is that they are free. They are considered lap infants by all airlines, whether it's Spirit, Delta, American Airlines. They're all free under 2, but they have to be sitting on your lap. If you buy a seat, then they are not free. So that's number 1, free kid, okay? Another thing, when booking flights, try to either book it around your kid's sleeping schedule, their nap time, or as a mom, you know, or parent, you know when they're the calmest or the easiest to work with. I tend to book late night flights, 8 p.m. or later, or morning flights, 5 p.m. 5 a.m. till. So I'm most likely at the airport by 5 a.m. boarding, ready to go, or 8 p.m. I'm at the airport boarding, ready to go wherever I'm going. So we book our trips around his nap time, because that's the easiest for me to do. Sometimes what I like to do is, if it's an hour or if it's a time that it's not normal for us and I want him to sleep on the plane, I will try to keep him up longer. Obviously your kid is going to be more jittery and annoying and all over the place, messy. Obviously your kid's going to be like jittery and more all over the place, but it's a small sacrifice that I'm willing to take in order to be able to sleep on the plane and have a nice, cool, peaceful plane ride. Now, one thing I would suggest is to put a change of clothes in the diaper bag, just in case while you're on the flight something happens. Another thing I would suggest is, if you are changing them, change them before you board. I do want to let you know that, so your diaper bag is free on top of your personal items. So whether you bring your diaper bag and then you bring a book bag, that book bag is your personal item. Now, when it comes to boarding, just recently I boarded, just recently I boarded first when they call, like if anyone who needs extra time, I boarded first. But on all my other trips, I boarded last, completely last. When everyone is like, they're like, this is the final call for such and such flight, that's when I would board, because I wanted just to be able to go straight to my seat, sit down. I don't know if I'm going to be in the middle, on the side, so I didn't want to have to keep getting up and moving just for people to come in. So I would board last, completely last. And also, when you board last, and if you have a stroller, which is free, you just need to get a tag for it, your stroller is most likely going to come out first. So remember that. I would board last, but it's up to you. Try boarding first, try boarding last, and see whichever one you prefer. I just let him get a little run around, and then we go straight to our seat, and that's that. Now, when you get to the gate, one thing you can do to see if there's any open seats or if you want more space, I go to the gate and, is this a full flight? If they say no, or are there any available seats or any available rows, because sometimes I want a row to myself, they might do that. Now recently I've had full flights and they still put three people plus the baby in a row, but there's been flights where it's just me, baby, and one other person, and there's been flights they gave me the whole row. Ask them if they have any available rows to give you an empty row, and if they do, they'll give it to you. When it comes to taking off and landing, very, 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 very important. If you have a bottle or if you have a container of juice or water. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys the main important thing. When you're going through TSA, if you do have a bottle of water, you can get through with it. They're just gonna have to test it. If you have, I've gotten through TSA with frozen milk and water, my hydro flask. I recently saw these people with carton juices. I don't know how they were testing it, but I feel like they got through. They're just gonna have to test whatever item, whatever liquids that you have over 4 ounces, but you can get through TSA with liquids if you have a baby. Powder, same thing, they're just gonna test it. All right, so back to where I was. When you are taking off, it is very important, if your child is awake, if they're not awake, it doesn't matter. If your child is awake, it's very important to either breastfeed them or bottle feed them while they're taking off. Because I know you know, when you're taking off, your ears pop. So for them, that sucking motion helps their ears not to pop. And if their ears did pop and you didn't do the whole breastfeeding or bottle feeding, then you have a baby whining because their ears are weird or needs to be popped. So very important, breastfeed when taking off, breastfeed when landing, or bottle feed, whichever one is your preference. Another thing I would recommend when your child is under 2 or really small, try to get a wrap. So that when they're in that wrap, no one is wanting to touch them. No one wants to have conversation with you about your baby. The airport is also the dirtiest place in the world. So you're protecting them by keeping them in that wrap. They're not touching this, touching that. And you can cover, you know, with a wrap, you can cover their whole face and they're fine. So they're not getting exposed to all the whatevers in the air, you know, as much maybe. So I use a wrap. If you can, travel light. I don't always bring my stroller because the places I'm going to, they usually have a car seat, or, you know, we live recklessly in these streets. And I just don't bring it because I like to travel light. The more I have, the more I feel like I'm gonna forget something. I'm gonna leave something behind. I have to worry about this. My back hurts because I gotta carry this, that, and the third. So if you can, wherever you're going, if they have car seats available for you, strollers are available for you, then do that. Also, I know some places, they do car seat and stroller rentals. Look into that if it's something you're interested in. And like I was saying before my camera rudely cut off, look into car seat rentals, stroller rentals. There's websites out there for clearly everything in the world. So if you don't want to travel with those things, you don't have to. But if you do decide to travel with your stroller, car seat, make sure you get a tag for each piece. If it's a 5-piece stroller, make sure you get the tag for that. One last thing, which probably should have been the first thing I said. Sorry, my light is really, we're using natural light, so we're gonna get a lot of this, okay? Another thing you wanna make sure is when you are booking, if you don't do it when you're booking, you can also call later or message customer service, but obviously that takes longer. So when you are booking, where it says adults 1 or whatever, there's a section for lap infants under 2. So make sure you book that make sure you check that when you are booking so that you could avoid delays later on. So these are some of my tips and my tricks for traveling with a toddler, traveling with a baby by air. Now, I don't know what it's like to travel on the road with a baby. I haven't done it yet. The furthest we've gone was about 4 hours, and he slept the whole time, so it was kind of cool. I don't really have much to say about that because I didn't do it enough. I don't feel like I experienced different varieties of car travel with a child, so I don't have much to say on that. But that's my little tips and tricks when you're traveling with a toddler or a baby. That's all I have. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, let your girl know how you feel, and I will see you next time. Bye, gems.